Okay, what's happened? I have bought this VFD, a 2.2 kilowatt VFD running on 220 volts, 3 horsepower, and is able to fit 10 amps motors. I bought this from the Nice Shop too, and now I struggle nearly a week with a non-running converter. So I show you the parameters, what they have written into. Again, there you see 2.2 kilowatts, 230 volts, 10 amps. (220 volts plus minus 15%). So the German network is fine with that, with 230 volts. Input could be one phase and the output will be 3 phases. Before I received the converter, I received from these guys that email. Nice thing, there you told you before, so for people they don't read manuals, what you have to do. And also with configuration settings. And that what they told, that's fine. This is pretty okay. So now what I get the converter, 220 volts, 2.2 kilowatt, and I connected this converter to this motor. This motor has a pretty wide bandwidth, operation bandwidth, so you have to configure this motor first. This motor is configured to a triangle mode, so that you see here the bridges, the metal bridges. So now they is configured for a triangle mode. In the triangle mode, this motor, get it sharp. In the triangle mode, this motor will be able to run in this voltage area from 220 to 240 volts on 50 Hertz. And the power consuming is 1.1 kilowatt. And this is the amps what the motor will take. 4.76 amps. So that means if you show to the inverter is 100% oversized. So no problem to handle this motor. The cable links are the three phases of the motor, and you see the cable links will jump into the converter or inverter on the right positions, and on the positions R and T there are the power plug. There's the power plug connected. Now we put it into the power, wait for a while. The VFD will start up. And now we do what Alan recommends us. We set this to factory reset program, go it to 13, we do it by manual, the last digit clicking, so 13. Set this parameter to 8. I did in the video first time a fault, I did it to 1, but 1 was for some other versions or older versions. For this version the 8 is valid. So now the converter have loaded the 50 Hertz factory configuration settings for this Huanyang inverter. So now hopefully you can see this. Let us do it on that way. It's pretty heavy. So now I press enter, start, sorry, and then you see there's nothing to do. The reason therefore is natural. Let us look to the programming. We have done a factory reset. So now the inverter knows that he is a 50 Hertz inverter. So on PD5 we see that. Now we go set to PD4. There you see also 50 Hertz. But what's not set, and this is naturally, is PD3, a minimum start frequency. But the inverter have no idea which kind of motor is connected. So what we have to do right now is to configure PD3 in a setup, or do it on this place by manually to select a starting configuration, starting frequency, what you want to start with. So I do it. I go and I start with 30 Hertz. So you have heard it, the motor tries to run and stops. So with the ALU error. So now we try it again and stops with the ALU error. Now we go. Now we go to 50 Hertz. Sorry for that. Was the wrong button. Now we go for 50 Hertz. What is the real frequency of the engine? So now we have 50 Hertz starting frequency. And the converter will use internally a ramp so that he put the rotations slowly to this frequency. So now I press start and see what's happened. The motor starts and stops with that error. So finally I can say this converter is not working. There's something wrong, or this is not the truth. There's something bad in this converter. They do some wrong measurements or something like that, or this is not the truth here. If you compare, 2.2 kilowatt is the double of 1.1 kilowatt, and this motor is fine. There's no problem with this engine. This is tested separately, no problem at all. And if you look to the manual, then you see what I said before. If you have done a factory reset, PD4, PD5, yes, this is fine. Factory settings is 50 Hertz. But PD3, the minimum frequency where the motor starts to run, and the factory setting is nothing. So you have to select this by your own.